As Jews, our people's connection to the land of Israel is undeniable. Unfortunately, Israel has been portrayed poorly in most news media sources, and like all countries, Israel can always work to improve its policies within the country and towards the Palestinians who live outside of it. But there's no disputing the reality that Israel is the only democratic country in the Middle East, protects the human rights of all its citizens, all races, genders, cultures, sexual orientations. And besides being a profound holy site for the Jewish people throughout time, it's been a safe haven for the Jewish people in a world of anti-Semitism since its official founding in 1948. Denying the overwhelming evidence of Jewish connection to Judaism's holiest site, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, from Old Testament to New, archaeological to historical record, 129 countries in the United Nations voted for a resolution that referred to the shared holy site above the Western Wall only by its Islamic name, Haram al-Sharif. The US and Canada were among 11 countries voting against the measure. Omission of this inclusive terminology is morally, historically, and politically wrong, denounced a US official. A resolution about Jerusalem that does not refer to its ancient Jewish roots is an attempt to rewrite history. The eternal bond between the Jewish people and our capital will never be erased. And by supporting lies, you embolden the Palestinians to continue boycotting negotiations and rejecting compromises, decried Israel's UN ambassador. And it's significant that this resolution was passed during Hanukkah, a Jewish holiday that centered on the rededication of the Jewish temple almost 2,200 years ago. This campaign to erase Jewish history to the land of Israel, the ancient kingdoms of Judah and Israel, conceived by some elements of Palestinian leadership and reinforced by the UN, the anti-Israel boycott movement, and even some modern social justice movements, prevents the possibility of peace. The international community must cease feeding Palestinian leaders fiction that Jews are foreign and colonial invaders to their own ancient homeland of Israel. It only serves to embolden resistance to compromise, coexistence, and peace. The fact that twice as many countries abstained in a UN vote denying Jewish history is real progress. The world is finally realizing that fueling a false narrative is unhelpful. But abstention, silence, still reads as agreement. It's incredibly disappointing that democracies such as Germany and the UK abstained. It's appalling that France voted yes. More countries should show the leadership of Australia, Canada, the US, the Czech Republic, Guatemala, Hungary, and the rest that voted against such a defamatory resolution. It's important to mention that while Jewish claims to the land of Israel is real and legitimate, they are not exclusive. The Muslim conquest of the Middle East in the 7th century was also real and legitimate. Support for the Jewish connection to Jerusalem and Israel is not a zero-sum game that diminishes Palestinian validity or impedes coexistence. Israeli administration of Jerusalem, the status quo, protects freedom of religion for all peoples, a right that was denied under Jordanian control in pre-1967. Respecting all religions and recognizing the history of all peoples who have populated the land is a prerequisite for peace. Coexistence can only be based on truth. More countries must join this collective goal now and insist that the Jewish history of Jerusalem and Israel be recognized. There are some important organizations like UN Watch and B'nai B'rith International who are working to build relationships with countries internationally to build support for the existence of the State of Israel among the United Nations. And they are worthy of our support. I encourage you to check out their work. Our people have brought so many contributions to the global community over thousands of years. The recognition and existence of our own state in the international community is a miracle, given the history of how people have responded historically to the Jewish people. We can continue to work with Israel to live up to the high moral vision that is articulated in our Torah, but we do need a state to do that. Shabbat Shalom.